Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Denim. As a business owner myself, I personally know the importance of financial stability and preserving cash flow to help navigate through any freight market. With Denim's comprehensive service offering, you now have an all-in-one financial partner whose platform includes factoring, payments, freight audit, document collection management, and analytics, which help keep your business financially healthy and increase your team's time to focus on revenue-producing activities. You can also take advantage of Denim's free credit check, which they perform on all of your customers, and Denim will proactively reach out to you if they spot any signs of credit deterioration. Finally, Denim always pays your carriers first. As a broker, this is imperative to preserving your credit score in the market, which ultimately helps you become a broker of choice to your carrier partners. Are you ready to learn more? Visit denim.com to schedule a demo today. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. I'm going to skip the rest of the intro because I want to get this guy up here, and we just got a lot to talk about. I mean, the title of it's, freight and fitness and everything else in between. And, we're here to talk about, especially how this affects the driver community, and, but it's applicable to all aspects of the, our entire country at this point, right? Like, we got to kind of tackle this stuff head on. And this guy, he's been on the show in the past, but he's continued to embody this lifestyle, and he's really taken this on. And him and I are similar in the sense of, like, we are both former large gentlemen who have since kind of taken control of our health and really saw the benefits of that. So I got my good friend Mike Lombard Trucking, back on the show today. He's got the flex. He is ready to rock. You're still muted there, sir.
What's happening, dude? I'm glad to be here. Appreciate that introduction. You got me frothed up.
No, man, dude. I've seen, ever since you've been on the show, I've been following your journey. I've been seeing you going out there. You haven't lost sight of your mission with everything, and you're out there walking the walk, right? Because it's like, when you completed 75 hard, it's easy for a lot of people to stop at that point. And, I had completed 75 hard in the past, but this last year, I actually said, I'm not just stopping there. I'm going to complete Live Hard. And I completed Live Hard entirely last year. And it's, that's where a lot of the realization for me has been, like, man, you got to stop worrying about tomorrow or even later today. Just focus on that next task. And that's where the magic lies. And, so it's like seeing you out there and then continuing and being committed to that. And then now driving more and more awareness to the driver community and everything else with a lot of your efforts, man. I commend you. It's not easy to do what you're doing out there.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. It's crazy you say that, because I just had this conversation with a gentleman from back in Connecticut, a friend of mine from high school, and his whole question was, he said, how do you stay motivated, especially when it comes to, like, my food, my overall essential diet? And he told me, but you're right. It seems there's a lot of people who probably do 75 hard and they might yo-yo because they've completed something and they've hit the goal. And with me, I'd say, while I was in the middle of 75 hard is when the current mission I'm on really started to take flight, because that's when I went to Broker Carrier Summit and had a great conversation with Dawn over at Green Screens. And I was talking about kind of the things that I wanted to do to try to, raise awareness of this driver health epidemic. And so things started to really take form. And so by the time 75 hard was over, I had my calendar full. So I finished 75 hard right towards the end. I did my first Olympic distance triathlon. And then I was already signed up for one in August, like an intermediate distance. And then I was signed up for the 70.3 half Ironman in Waco. And so I had these things in my calendar that I was looking to perform at, and that I was now working and I had gotten my first, paid content sponsorship through Super Coffee, which is a better for you, coffee beverage out there that competes with Starbucks. They jumped in on this, and I got that connection because of this mission about driver health. And so they came on the scene. And so all these things the mission really started to form during it. So it's like, I couldn't go backwards, because going backwards means I wasn't just letting myself down at the end of the day. It meant I was going to let down these people who found belief in me. And so I kept stacking the calendar, and that, the calendar got so stacked that somebody else believed in me so much to pay for my race fees to go to Ironman Florida in November. So it's like, it's just been this, like, once the mission took flight, and that's the thing, when there's mission, when there's purpose behind what you're doing, when it goes beyond just yourself, when the issue's bigger than you, I think it's a driving force that can keep you going. Not saying that if you don't have a specific goal and it's just, being the best version of yourself, being the best version of yourself to present to the world is probably the most important goal you need. But when there is something, an overlying thing you're chasing that you're trying to solve, and when it has to do with helping people, it kind of takes a whole new form.
How much, because I know my answer to this, Mike, but how much easier is it to maintain, like you're saying, you're talking to your buddy about how do you stay motivated to keep going with all of that stuff. And if I was ever asked that question, mine would be like, because it's way easier to continue doing this and maintain the level of output that I'm doing than it is to go back and then have to fight to get all of that weight back off. That was the hardest part of it. Now, like the maintenance is, I don't want to say it's the easy part, but it's a lot easier to maintain it than it is to like fall back into those old habits.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if I just wanted to maintain where I'm at, that would be, to be put simplistically, I mean, it would actually be very easy if I'm looking to maintain. Like if it's just staying consistent where I'm at, I'm perfect. Like it would be, you're right. At this point in time where my mind, where my mental bandwidth and my headspace is, it's definitely easier. Where if going backwards would be a challenge to go out. And it would also cost me a lot of money, because if I really wanted to fall off and go backwards, that's me now spending more money on alcohol, more money on Ubers to go out downtown, more money for Ubers home. So I'd actually probably start losing money. If I really fell off like the current like lifestyle I have, I'd actually be losing a bunch of money in how much takeout, and how much bad food I'd be eating. I'd actually be losing money.
No, dude, I completely agree. So with this, you sent over this link. I want you to talk about this event that's coming up as well. And then we'll talk into some more strategies for what drivers can do out on the road, and kind of like the parallels that you've drawn between how you could implement that if you were still driving. So what's this event that's going on here? We're going to share this link out, you guys, on the podcast promo post and all that stuff. So you'll get access to this. So what is this?
So the link I had shared with you goes, it's an Ironman Foundation link. And so I ran my first full distance Ironman back in November in Panama City Beach, Florida. And it's amazing. It's the most electric arena I've ever been in when it comes to sports. And I've been to I've been to Texas Longhorns football games. I've been to Steeler games, but the arena of being at an in-person Ironman and competing with it is like nothing I've ever even dreamed of. And so I ran that back on November 2nd. And the thing is, I had already been signed up for Ironman Texas next April before I even completed Ironman Florida. And so, but I knew that, this whole mission, the reason why I want to go to Ironman and do these events is bigger than me. It has to do with highlighting the driver health epidemic. And Recently, there's a new nonprofit that had formed by my good friend Jeremy Raymer, Project 61, which is out here. Its sole existence is to highlight this issue and get education and resources to drivers, motor carriers, and beyond. And so that had just been starting. So it was kind of too late to raise money for Ironman Florida because it was so short. But with Ironman Texas coming in April, I was able to Jeremy and I were able to form this partnership. And so through Ironman Foundation, they want athletes, through this My Journey, My Cause. They want athletes to raise money for these events. So I made contact with people at Ironman to figure out how to get this rolling. I submitted the information because they need like all the nonprofits info and everything. And so I have a live link set up. So I start a 12-week Ironman prep going into starting February 1st, because I've already done it. So it's like, if you want to do something like an Ironman, it could take you a year or longer to really work up that baseline fitness. But I have a 12-week prep I'll start. I'm looking to generate and pump a bunch of content surrounding the training to raise money for Project 61. It's brand new. Donations haven't been like pouring in, but we've got over $600 raised so far. I've got a goal of 10,000, and the idea is to really highlight this issue, because if Project 61 is able to really grow and we're able to get this organization off the ground and funded, we're talking about the opportunity to save lives.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it, right? I don't know if enough people who are in the industry actually understand that the average lifespan of a driver is 16 years less, right? And it is, 61 years old is the average age of that. And that's just, as Mark Monero put it last week, you shouldn't lose 16 years off your life just for choosing a profession. And I think what would be cool, Mike, I don't know if there's many truck stops in the Austin area where you're located, about maybe incorporating a truck stop workout in there somehow as you're training to kind of drive awareness to that, and maybe go out there like, hey, this is what I would do if I was still behind the wheel. Because you guys, Mike drove, right? Like, he's been out on the road. He's done this. He knows exactly what it's like out there. So I don't know if that's an option, man, but I think if you're going to go out there and film some content, I think that'd be pretty sick to do something that what you would do if you were still driving, to try and draw those parallels.
Yeah, I think about that a lot, actually. And it's funny, I've had this conversation with Adam Wingfield about it's his idea. He's like, there is something with you. He's like, where if you took Lombard and you combine it with Peloton, he's like, there's something out there that needs to happen. He's like, I don't know how to link the two. He's like, but there is such an opportunity that is, if it has to do with, group fitness, or like with when it comes to like live interactive like workouts. And I do have a Pilot Flying J near me that I plan on going to, and because I'm looking to connect with more. I'm always looking to connect with more drivers to just talk about this issue and highlight it. But one thing that I think about what I would do, because I'm not going to lie, the past couple months, especially going towards the end of last year, I've really been kind of yearning getting back over the road. And I've said it before, I've said it on my show. I don't know if my days of driving are like fully behind me, because you never know where life might take you and where opportunities could take me. So it's like, I'm not completely shut off from that idea of being able to do it. But I would think, so I'm trying to piece together how I would train for Ironman if I was still an over the road driver, which I believe is still doable. And where I'm fortunate is I don't really need to worry about swimming. I grew up a swimmer. So it's like, if I only saw the pool once a month and I did that for when I was on home time, that could probably be suitable. But there is so many things you could do as a driver, where if you really wanted to start cycling, you could fit a bike in your truck, and you can get one of those trainers that the back tire sits on. And you could really, depending on your sleeper cab, how you could set it up, you could set up that trainer. You could set up especially because if you're in the Midwest and it's cold or wherever, you could set up that bike inside your sleeper, put a laptop on your dashboard, and you could log into Zwift, and you could do training rides for cycling. Like, you can get a bunch of training rides, and that's like, or if your trailer's empty, you could do it as well. And that would be kind of the level of craziness I would do if I was actually training for because I would figure it out. I would make it happen. Eventually, on a long enough timeline, I would have made it happen, because as a driver, I made it happen for marathon. There's 5 marathons I completed as a trucker. And so I figured out that training, and it would only have been a matter of just of a process of elimination to figure out how I would actually complete a triathlon as still a driver. And there's part of me that actually just wants to do that.
Yeah.
And
No,
I think that's good content.
Dude, I think that would be phenomenal content. And then you could also go as far as, doing meal prep on the road and stuff like that. And because I think like that's at least for me, that's the biggest thing, right? And like I don't travel a lot, but as much as I do travel, it's a lot. It's very easy. It's almost like it's a mentality switch where you're like, oh man, I'm out on the road. Let me have fries or let me go eat that fried chicken or whatever that looks like. I don't know what it is, but I go through with that. So I think it would almost be cool though. Like if you're going to do something like that, also do it like meal prep on the road, right? The whole eat this, not that style thing and show that, right? Because I mean, you have this frontline experience there. Could you put an air fryer or a rice cooker in the sleeper cab of the truck?
Yeah, I love touching in on this point. So what's really funny is Buc-ee's has a billboard I've seen on highways that says road trip calories don't count. And so they even like you just said it, you're like, when I travel, it's very easy to shut off my discipline because while I'm out, I'm traveling. I guess I have every excuse in the book, that so much to the point where Buc-ee's has a billboard that is openly saying what people think. But yeah, when you're out on the road, and essentially what I did for, to stay dialed in on my, counting my macros, my macronutrients to make sure I wasn't eating in excess, was using the First Form health and fitness app to track my macros because I had it calculated. And I, on my truck, had an air fryer, microwave, and a fridge. Some people I know have a cooler, can keep a cooler with stuff, but in there, and I was able to grocery shop once a week out on the road, sometimes a little bit more, because you can pull a truck and trailer into any Walmart. You might not be able to park there. Obviously, we know that parking is a big issue. I work for a company now that aims to help drivers with their parking dilemmas. You can't park in every Walmart, but you can pull in there and grocery shop. And so whether it's 34-hour reset, even a 30-minute break, or sometimes you are able to sleep at Walmart, I grocery shop there, and that's where you can get lean meats. That's where you can get vegetables to air fry. That's where you can get fruit, protein bars. That's where you can get the better for you options out there in quantity. So that way, because the point is to always also have this stuff with you, because it's not just about eating better food and like watching what you eat, but it's also about saving a little bit of money. We have to realize that at these truck stops and travel centers, they're charging airport prices for, for their goods and services that they sell in these locations. And it's not even all really that healthy. So say you are a soda drinker, and I tell this to anybody who is, you can go to Walmart and you can get a 24 pack of Diet Coke. And then, so that way you're not even buying your drinks, your beverages from these travel centers. You can get them for the bottom dollar if you just grocery shop at Walmart's. And it was routine. And I can tell you from building that discipline over the road, when I was transitioning off the road, when I had sold my truck, I was more fearful to come off the road, because now all the temptations of the civilian world were going to re-enter with the quote unquote freedom getting back of not being in the truck. I built such a strong armor of foundation of what my habits were over the road. I was afraid to come home because of how routine it was. I was going to grocery shop. I was at the point to where I was air frying chicken breast, waiting in line at the fuel island, because sometimes if there's two trucks in front of you, I mean, that's 20 minutes almost of like sitting and waiting. I mean, I would just pull the yellow tab, break, like in a matter of 3 minutes, scale out 10 ounces of chicken breast, throw it in the air fryer. And then while I'm waiting the fuel island, lunch is cooking.
Yeah. No. So do you think that like, how would you plan your day? Cause I think like, this is something that we, because it's always like, where do I start? Right? Like, hey, this all sounds great. How would I plan my day around my clock? You're talking about air frying in the fuel line, whatever that looks like, but like, how would you do that to structure it out? Like, what could a driver do today? What are those parallels that you have kind of thought about here, where it's like, hey, if I was driving again today and I wanted to follow a meal plan to hit some certain macros, this is what I would do.
Yeah, I guess if you really want to follow a plan, it starts with being prepared. Like having a plan is good. So knowing what you got to know what you want to eat first of all, because I think that's the biggest obstacle is like when it comes to the food, I think people eat, like, we don't even know what we want to eat. A lot of people, whether you're driving truck over the road, or whether you work, whether you work from home or you work, a lot of people don't wake up even thinking about that. You get lunch during the day, you're going to have dinner, but you're not even thinking about it because you're so dialed in on whatever your job is. So sometimes you could lose track of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So having a plan of what you're going to eat throughout the week it just removes so much stress, because if you don't even know what you're going to eat or what you want to eat, then you're going to go throughout your week and you're just going to get it for the fastest and cheapest option. So if you don't even have a plan, that's why the grocery shopping once a week set it up for success. Okay, what does lunch and dinner look like for the next 5 days? So having that plan, whether it's meal prepping before you go out on the road, or whether it's just buying the food that you're going to either cook or have or microwave, and just having that for at least the next 5 to 7 days is going to set you up for that success. Is just knowing, because if you don't know, if you're just going into your week without a plan of knowing what you're going to have for, you don't need to know. It could change. Maybe you have for dinner what you had for lunch. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you have blocked out what you're going to eat for 3 meals and 1 to 2 snacks throughout the day, if you have that already in your mind, the mental, because when it comes time to eat, you're going to get stressed because you're like, I'm starving. So you go for, the quickest, you're going to go for the quickest and cheapest option. It's for the most point, not healthy. So having that plan first and foremost. And then if you are over the road, when it comes to setting yourself up for success, it's knowing what, the lifestyle, the trucker lifestyle. When it came to health and fitness for me, I was never, you can't really be a morning workout person if you're a truck driver, because a lot of days start between 3 and 5 a.m., like depending on where you are, how far you are from your load, how far you are from pickup, drop off, whichever. So the day is going to start, at least this is how I like my day starting, between 3 and 5 a.m., to where I'm starting driving between, essentially 3:30 and 5 in the morning, depending on where I needed to be and when. So I know for a fact I'm not going to, and for the most part, you wake up and you're going to pre-trip and you're going to start driving. That, I'd say, is probably the standard for most drivers. So having a food and beverage option.
Yep. Oh.
You
I'm losing you a little bit, Mike. Hey, Mike, I think I'm losing you there, man. I will, kind of jump in here and say, so like a good alternative that I have since found out there for a like some chicken that tastes a little bit better than just your standard grilled chicken is it called the Bear brand, and you can find it at Costco. That's another very good alternative if you're out there and you're looking to kind of get rolling and get started with a lot of that stuff. And it looks like we just lost Mike, which a lot of you guys could probably tell. So he'll probably be jumping back on here in a second. But it's what Mike's doing right now in his training and everything, and in really living that lifestyle. I really wanted to bring him on today, and we're obviously in the middle of talking about a lot of this stuff that it's always about finding what is going to work for you out there in your job and your profession, whether you are out on the road or whether you are, a broker or a shipper, you're working at a desk or whatever that looks like. It's about finding those things. And as I've talked about on the past it's a lot more beneficial, at least from my experience, to start with one thing. And it is finding food that you like to eat. I'm of the, like, I literally just eat the same stuff every single day. I have no problem in doing that, but I found a way to prepare it that the food tastes really good. And I didn't go 0 to 100 with it. Right. And I know that, because tomorrow's National Quit Day, I believe, for everybody who started their New Year's resolutions or whatever that looks like. And, for me, it's like that ease in approach is very beneficial. And then finding foods that you enjoy eating every single day, and then finding some alternatives with that to kind of change it up. I know some people like variety. I don't need variety. I eat the same stuff like I had been mentioning, but I have found some really good alternatives to cut out a lot of the bad foods and the empty calories that I was consuming, in the form of like sugars and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of really good sugar-free alternatives that are out there for people to utilize as well. But, I think that for the most part, and it looks like Mike is back here. There he is. What's going on, man?
What's up? I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, we're still live too. I was just jumping in and filling in and talking about some alternatives that I've implemented in my life, and about like with some sugar-free options, and more about finding foods that I like to eat as I'm out there, because it's like, I understand people like variety, but I just found food because I don't need variety. I just need to know what works, and I like to stick with it. That's just my personal preference. But I also eat burger every single day. I also eat chicken every single day, air fried potatoes, steamed rice. I'm eggs every single morning for breakfast. And I was talking about another brand. It's not as healthy as chicken breast, but it's called Simply Bare. You can get it at Costco. It's lightly breaded chicken, and that you can get really good protein macros out of that as well. So it's kind of about finding that, but it's about finding that system that works and one that you can replicate inside of your day, that where it doesn't seem like it's a chore to do it, right? Like, I don't want to get up early every single day. All right. I do it because I like getting hard shit done early. And I also like getting it out of the way right away, but I also have a job that allows me to get my workouts in before work. But it's finding that, but a lot of it for me is building a system, and then it's finding a system that works for you.
No, you couldn't be more right. It has to fit the lifestyle, because a lot of times people get caught up, and I know I had gotten caught up talking about basically a routine to get into as a driver, but a lot of people get caught up where they think to get healthier, to get the dream physique they want, to get back to their college or high school weight, whatever that might look like, that it's going to require giving something up. It's going to require this like extreme makeover, this sudden change of, oh, now I have to wake up at 5 a.m. or now I have to do this. And again, that's all self-defeating, and it's your actual brain. It's your brain trying to escape to comfort, because our brains naturally do that. Humans, since our entire existence, have been trying to find comfort, and we've now we live in the most comfortable times in history. We don't need to hunt for our food. We don't have to, for the most part, we have shelter that is temperature controlled. And so when it comes to making these, slight uncomfortable changes, our brain is going to have these defense mechanisms say, well, it's going to require your entire life to change. And not really. Like it doesn't have to change at all. It's about simply, the only change you have to make is just you're not completely altering your life. You're not making, different decisions. You're just making better ones. So you like eating. Everybody, for the most part, when it comes to diet food wise, like people like chicken, people like ground beef, people like turkey, people like fish or eggs. Like people like those things, those basic, foundational whole foods. It's about how you're preparing them and how you're cooking them, and then the quantity of which you're eating. So it's that you're not making different decisions. And again, if you're a truck driver, so your lifestyle is probably going to it's unconventional. And this is why I always recommend, Goggins' first book, Can't Hurt Me, because it talks about this, like this, whether you are a truck driver, or he doesn't really mention drivers, but he talks about very busy working professionals, like lawyers who work very crazy hours, and other people who might live in Manhattan who work rigorous jobs, and about how you transform your community. I read a great triathlon book by Dan Golding, and he's like, if you want to do Ironman, it's a very hard thing to do. And so that means, guess what? You might be riding your bike to work. Your bike might be in the living room. So it's like, you don't need to give up watching TV. You just might need to put that trainer or your Peloton in the living room. And while you're doing that workout, you're watching TV. It seems weird. If you're the guy in the airport who's stretching, doing mobility, or doing some push-ups, it's going to look weird to people, but you're not doing anything differently. You're just doing things a little bit better. So you have to realize that everybody's lifestyle is different. Just because, it's not because we know that pro athletes, it's their job, they can do it, but other people who aren't pro athletes are doing it too. And I met so many people at Ironman, and I've met so many people at these marathons who have all these different crazy jobs. You know, many of them are moms with 3 kids. Many of them are, you know, they work 7 to 5. They have tougher jobs, but they're able, you have to piece it up to make it fit your lifestyle. And it's not going to seem normal. Like, it's going to seem weird. Like, oh, I'm doing this Peloton while I'm watching TV, or I'm, you know, during lunch, I'm going for a walk, whatever it might be. It seems weird. It's only weird because nobody else is doing it. But then you realize that nobody else is doing it, but everybody else is also complaining about the same thing that you're complaining about. They're complaining that they don't feel the way they want to feel. They wish they could go back to their college weight. It's because they're not doing these little things for your lifestyle that matter. It has to match the lifestyle. And so with trucking, the workout would have to happen in the afternoon. When you look at it in time, and this is compartmentalization, you know, you don't always have to start driving again after 10 hours, depending on your delivery, but you know, if you at least have a 10-hour break, that as soon as you pull that yellow tab, there's about 2 hours of playtime you got right there. You got to it. And that could be, and you could put 30 to 60 minutes of activity, 30 minutes for dinner, 30 minutes to shower, clean up, and you've got 8 hours of sleep. Like, you can do that, but it just takes going right into those routines and building it.
Yeah, and it is. It will always boil down to structuring your day, right? And then, you know, ultimately, at least for me, Mike, and as we're kind of wrapping up, I had my moment, and I think everybody has hit this or will hit this, where they're like, I'm sick and tired of the bullshit. And that's what it was for me. I was sick and tired of always being that I'll start on Monday and then by Wednesday I stop. And I was sick and tired of being overweight. I was sick and tired of the health issue. I was just sick and tired of everything. And I, you know, and it was a 5-year progression. Really, it was from 2020 when I moved to Arizona to where I am today. And I recently posted about this on Instagram. So if you want to read the post on there, you'll see the progression. But like, the hardest conversation I ever had was the one with myself in the mirror, when I said, you're the fucking reason why your life's in shambles. And if you want to fix it, it's on you. And it, you know, and again, it's like, I gave myself a little bit of grace, and I was like, hey, listen, this is a lifetime of bad habits you need to unwind. Stop saying you're going to do it in a month or 2 months. Like, for me, it was that slow commitment. And that's why I'm like, I would rather take slow and steady progress over an extended period of time than rushing into it to try and fix everything. Because I know myself better than anybody will ever know me. And I know that I will always look for the easy route. And at this first sign of adversity, I'll stop, as opposed to getting that momentum, making those small incremental changes. And then now here I am, starting out 2025 at 183 pounds, in the best shape of my life. And I'm 39, you're going to be 39 here soon, right? Like, this was a progression. It was small incremental changes over time.
Exactly. I mean, the same thing happened for me. When things happen too fast, too quick, you know, they're unsustainable. Anything that grows super fast, we see this in the business world. Sometimes when there's rapid growth and then things collapse right down. You know, it was over the course of 6 years for me to shed 100 pounds. Like, that was over the course of 6 years. And now I'm at the point where, going into 2025, the only goals are simply improving, like PRing at Ironman. So it has nothing to do with weight loss.
Yes.
It has to do with now PRing at harder stuff. Like, it doesn't become this, it doesn't become this arc. Everything's become a full circle where it continues to keep going and going. But if I tried it, I did keto in 2017, lost 30 pounds, like, super fast. I went on vacation, went to Bulgaria, came home. And I mean, it's just like, I enjoyed vacation, and then I came home, and it's just, you're going to fall off those habits real quick, because when you try to do something based off of restriction, and you're just trying to do it super fast, and there's so many outside forces that end up, it's just one slip up you end up just, snowballing right back downhill. So I did it. One time I went down the rabbit hole. I didn't eat meat for 2 months. I lost 12 pounds. I felt like crap for 12 months. Like, I was tired. I wasn't even exercising, but I lost weight. And I was like, this just hurts too much. So I tried those things in 2016, 2017, and it didn't work. And it wasn't until in 2018, I started with one thing. I just got back to the gym. From there, the coach I met, he started giving me, hey, this is how you should be eating. Like, he just started planting seeds in my head. Like, hey, this is what you can get. So after a couple months of movement, I changed the food, and it became this progressive overload of building that has turned into. And you look at what so where people think linear progression is the straight line that goes up, it's more of a zigzag that zigzags its way up. So it's up and down. But now I'm at the point to where it's, I'm off the screen now because it's became such a progressive overload where instead of just going from 0 to 100, I just slowly started zigzagging my way up. And now we're off the screen because the progression became so big that I just kept wanting to raise the bar, raise the bar, raise the bar. And the bar has been gotten raised to the point where I'm like, I'm going to run marathons as truck drivers. Now it's going to be, now I'm going to go to Ironman. Now it's going to be, now I'm going to PR. It's just continued to build its way up but when you try to go from 0 to 100 and you just try to cross the screen, I'm using the screen as my proverbial graph. When you just try to go off the screen, eventually it's too hard to sustain because you haven't built a solid enough foundation of habit to really keep rolling. For some people it works. Again, I'm not doubting that. I get it. I get it, but I'd say the overall majority, I mean, between my testimony and yours and so many other countless other Ironman I've talked to, like there's Ironman's loaded with a lot of sober people, which is really funny to think about. But it's like, that's how they started writing their comeback, is they were completely downtrodden, addicted to whether it's drugs or alcohol. And then they leaned into fitness. And then after so many years of just like replacing their drug and alcohol addiction with, the mission of becoming better versions of themselves, it just slowly brought them to Ironman. And these are just normal people who have like regular jobs. They're not pros. They're not pro athletes. And it's because of that progressive overload.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. And as somebody who was an alcoholic, you can use those exact same tendencies for the good and to benefit your life in positive ways if you truly want to. But dude, that's going to be it for today. Man, I really enjoyed having you on. Like, I'm fired up. I want to go for a run like right now after this. But man, how does anybody reach out to you to find out more? We're going to post this link if you guys want to donate to Mike's Ironman coming up here, you guys. We're going to post that up there in the show notes and everything. But how does anybody reach out to you to find out more?
Yeah, if anybody wants to reach out, you can find me anywhere on the internet. It's at Lombard Trucking. I've been Lombard Trucking on the internet since 2010. It's in honor of my family's company. A lot of what I do is an honor. I tell people my name's Lombard when I meet them because I'm so honored to have my family's name that has history going back in the trucking industry for over 100 years. So it's something I take a lot of pride in. So you can find me anywhere. That's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn as Michael Lombard. Again, if helping out in any way, if you are tapped in, if you are connected to a better for you health brand and option out there that wants to get their eyes in front of more truck drivers, that's what it's all about. My mission is changing the culture of health and fitness overall within the industry. And it's a change that's going to have to start from the top down for everybody. It's going to take all of us. But dude, I really appreciate having me on. I'm a big fan of what you're doing over here. Love the brand, love the Freight Coach brand and your guys' mission and how you're helping people, everything. So it's an honor to join you again.
Oh, thanks again, Mike. And that will be it for today. If you guys can't find Mike for whatever reason, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in contact with him. We will be back tomorrow. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network, because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.